Miltenberger, and I have a guest on that is a business owner that is local, and we want to accomplish two things with this podcast. Number one, we want to tell you about what they do. And number two, we want to share with you some of the things that they learned along the way on their journey. We know that our audience loves to hear people just like them that are trying to figure business out, or maybe even trying to figure out if they want to go into business. And the business owners that we've had on, maybe this is probably crossing 40 episodes, our guests have had a chance to learn a tremendous amount. I'm really excited today to have the guests on that I have on. I have Mrs. Carlisa Heflin and Mrs. Precious Billingsley, the owners of Tiny Scholars University. I know that everybody is excited to hear their story, and I'm excited to have them on. Welcome, ladies.
Thank you.
We are
Thanks for
excited to
having
have,
us.
yeah, we're excited about it. So let's get started out. How do two young ladies like you decide that not only am I going to go into business, but I'm going to go into business where parents have to trust me with their most precious prizes, their children. And you guys have flourished, so you figured out how to do that. But when
Yes.
you very first started, who come up with the idea first and what did it look like? Share it with me.
So we both have a passion just for loving children. Like our backgrounds, Precious family has always been really involved with having foster children and adopting children into her family. My family is huge on my mother's side. I have a plethora of cousins, and then when I got married, I inherited four girls, and I had one on my own, so I have five girls. In 2016, Precious and I both wanted to open up a business, and I wanted to open up a group home. And just a little backstory about me or whatnot. I had my daughter at 17. She is now 18 years old. I always wanted a group home for teenage mothers. Precious said, "We're never, ever going to be able to go home." She said, "Let's do a child care center." And I said, "You know what?" I said, "You may be right." And so then we stepped in the arena of having a child care center. And Precious worked for an organization. I'll let her tell that portion, but that helped us with the foundation of, she worked for a child care center or a large organization. It helped her with the foundation of building the bricks to create our own.
So Precious, you talked her out of the group home, and I'm very familiar with the group home space because we do a lot of insurance for group homes and home healthcare organizations. And she was not wrong, Carlisa, what your life would have looked like. But Precious, you also knew when you guys started this and you wanted to be childcare, you knew it was going to take a lot of time and dedication. What was it about the childcare space that made you want to be involved in it?
Like she said, it's just always been a passion. Children. I've worked in many daycares. I've had events before, started a nonprofit, just doing things, and Carlos has always supported me in that. I worked at a group home the year that we wanted to open a business, and I'm like, you have to spend a night. So if staff call off, you have to be there. You have to stay overnight. Carlisa had children and things like that. So I'm like, if you have kids and a husband, you're not gonna want to stay overnight working or running a group home.
So in starting this business right here, you guys started it from the ground up. You decided not to look to buy a child care. You wanted to start it from the ground up. That is scary business because you can do all of this planning. You can invest all of this money in infrastructure, and you can get everything set up for day one when you're ready to go. And then the doors open up, and all of a sudden, you're responsible for bringing business in. What did that look like, Carlisa?
So at the time, I was working for a local hospital, and I decided to switch my shift to go to night shift so that I could focus on meeting contractors during the daytime. Precious was in the midst of moving back to Dayton, Ohio. She lived about an hour away. but she was working in another city, so I know that I could be an initial point of contact. It took a lot of research. We were researching what the state required to for a parent handbook, what the employee handbook was supposed to have in there, and then not only do you have the bare minimum. When you walk into any individual child care center that is owned just by a small business, none of our cultures look the same. And that's from entering in, how we greet families, how our teachers come in, how they lesson plan, how they implement the lesson plans. So it was a lot of us setting the tone on what we needed to change and what we wanted our environment to look like. I felt like, oh my God, this is so hard. I cried. It was so stressful just dealing with different type of contractors and different experiences that we had. But that was the easy part. The most difficult part was actually after you get your doors open, keeping your doors open to me. But nonetheless, the renovations, we got through that transition, and then we had to go through licensing to make sure that you had every material that in the classroom when licensing came, that the environment was safe, rodent free, just starting multiple contracts, whether, it's for them coming in and make sure that we don't have any mice or terminex just coming in, just certain things, having
Sure.
insurance. I ran across you from going to a training in Cincinnati, so I logged on to the Ohio registry, and I'm just searching for any type of training in regards to childcare that I could find before we opened up, so I could know what I was getting myself into. Like I said, I have a medical background. My bachelor's degree is in health and human services. And then I was certified in childcare once we opened up our doors. But nonetheless, I went to a training in Cincinnati, and I was talking to another provider who was in the process of opening, and I asked her who she was using for insurance. So we found you. We literally had the whole list that the state requires, checked everything off of the box. And so when state came in, she approved us to open the following day.
Well, let me tell you something that you've said that it makes me think that you've listened to every one of our previous 40 podcasts, because you've said something that is so common. It's a common thread interwoven through entrepreneurs. You said that you went out and talked to some experts. And when I used to do small business consulting, that was the hardest thing for me to get business owners to realize that they needed to do. And you were humble enough, you were wise enough to go and pull on somebody's shirt and say, hey, listen, I got questions. And I want to know, I don't want to have to recreate the wheel here. You probably already have a system in play, and if you're willing to share it with me, there's a ton of wisdom involved in that, to just humble yourself and go and realize. And then the other thing that you said is, wait a minute, I'm gonna dispel a myth right here, because everybody always talks about, oh, you own a business, God, that must be so easy.
It's not.
And you just told
It's not at
me,
all.
yeah, you just told me that you work third shift,
Yeah.
and then during the day when normal people sleep, you're meeting contractors and stuff. You're like pouring your life into this right here. You didn't just dip your toe in the pool, you jumped in all the way.
And to go back to that, it was so funny. We couldn't find a location anywhere. I'm on Craigslist, and it's funny because that's where we found our location. And so, nonetheless, when we ran into it, it wasn't too expensive, especially compared from, we did that in 2019, compared to what rates would be now. It wasn't too expensive to rent the space. He gave us a certain amount of time to bring it up to code, which we still went over a little bit, but we made it enough time for the state. But I've gone into other childcare centers. I've messaged and called administrators, asked can I pick their brains, asked them how much of a budget did they think I would need. And so, yeah, it was being fearless. That was the thing, and being resilient, because my husband always says, when I want something, I want it. And so, and so I wanted this really badly, and Precious wanted it just as much as I did. And we were backed around a lot of people who supported us and helped us in the times that we really needed them the dearest.
So you had to manage quite a bit. So
We had a lot
Precious,
of, we had a lot of, I'm sorry.
no, I was just going to ask you, go ahead and say what you were
Yeah, I
going to
was just
say.
gonna say, oh, okay. I'm kind of feel like I'm delayed. I'm sorry, but yeah, I was gonna say like with the contractors and building the space, you just get a lot of roadblocks. Like we'll be
Mhm.
determined and thinking we're finished with an inspection or with construction, and we had many times when we were told no, no, that's not it. No, redo this. No, you failed. You failed an inspection. And like she said, we would be crying and we would be like frustrated. But for as many no's as we had, we had a lot of yeses. But
Mhm.
we, like you said, we were very humble and we just kept going, trying till we got it right.
Mhm.
So it wasn't easy peasy lemon squeezy right from jump?
No, nothing never
Well,
Not at
really
all.
is.
Not at all.
no. Okay, so let's jump ahead. A lot of times people don't realize how much work is involved in just getting going. Girls, we haven't even talked about you opening up a door yet or even seeing one child inside your daycare. So you dedicate all of these long days, both of you. You humble yourself and you're asking for advice. You go through inspections, you go through licensing, you get the yeses, the nos, the successes and failures, and day one comes up and you say, we can unlock the doors and hang our open sign today. And then you go, wait a minute, we don't have any kids to come in and, start paying tuition to cover all these bills right here. What did the scramble look like when you
Ooh.
knew the open sign was going to be flipped open and
Mhm.
you had to start paying bills? What did you do?
You want to answer, Precious, or would you like me to answer? I can answer. I think her phone may be lagging a little bit. So our first day that we were open, we brought in all of our staff. So we had so many people supporting us who wanted to work, and some of them were part time. So it was doable for us to, rotate schedules. I want to say our first 3 months, in order to make sure that we could pay our staff, me and Precious couldn't pay ourselves. And
Mm-hmm.
so that's when I say we had that support, our family jumping in, making sure we had the things that we needed in order
Mm-hmm.
for us to survive so our business could survive. And then it was just word of mouth. So we started to fill up. People seeing a new child care center had opened up, and they'll send their children, then they'll tell their friends, then they sent their children, and we started to form relationships with the community as well. So that's how we really just got out there.
Boy, Tony's not with us today, but Tony would have been all over. His first statement would have been how important local business is in the community because we really help shape it with the service or the product that we provide. And you talked about community being supportive for you and also you having to get out there during the first 3 months where you had to make sure that you paid enough staff and you didn't have kids coming in the door or at least as many as what you needed. What
Yeah.
were some of the marketing ideas that you tried? What worked? What failed? What helped you skyrocket? What is a marketing thing that you'll never ever do again because you thought it was a really good idea and you fell flat on your face with it? Tell me about some of those.
I'll start. Indeed was one of the worst things we could have did. I accidentally like, how much was it? Like almost $500, and we hired nobody. I set up our account,
Mm,
and Indeed just got the charge on our credit card. So we went from that to Facebook postings. We created a business page, and we started to pay for the ads on Facebook Marketplace. I think the downfall to that is they post everywhere. So we had people from Alabama like, "Hey, I want to send my kids there," or and I'm like, "Do you know we're in Ohio and Dayton?
we have bussing, but we don't bus that far.
Yeah, exactly." And so during that time, at least we did. And so then we had Precious mother. So Precious mother, she drove for local transportation here. She had retired, and she brought a flock of her friends, and they drove buses for us. They worked in a classroom for us, and then we had just random people who applied on Facebook, and then we had a mixture of family that just came in, and then we transitioned from that. So from where we started today, we have some family members who work for us or whatnot, but now we've had quite a few employees come from from off Indeed, and we've invested in having like an HR marketing contractor. So she interviews for us. She does phone screenings for us. She contacts the employee and prospects, and then she basically schedules with us. We set a time frame to do interviews once or twice a week to bring new people in.
Well, here's what I'm hearing right here. A lot of times, it isn't as if during our first 40-ish episodes, it isn't as if nobody has said that family isn't supportive, but you guys really, your family leaned in.
They
I
did.
mean, that's what I'm hearing. I'm hearing from every step of the way. And that right there is something that a business owner, that has to be such a blessing, number
Yes.
one.
Hmm.
But for your family to rally around you like that right there and be the key to your support, maybe
Hmm.
there's an entrepreneur out there that is listening right now that has, kind of banged their head on the wall, trying to figure out what am I going to do. And if they come from a supportive family, maybe this is the encouragement that they need to hear how much your family leaned into what you guys do.
Yeah.
Because you said you still have family members that work there, right?
We do.
Let me ask you this question right here. So it hasn't all been sunshine and rainbows and lollipops.
No.
I'm going to ask you a two-pronged question, and you can choose which one you want to answer first. I'm certain that there's been highlights and successes that you can tell me about, but a lot of things that people can learn are through the ways that you bumped your head, through something that sprung up that caught you off guard and you went, Lord have mercy, I didn't see that coming. I didn't have that thing on my bingo card today. And it just jumped up and scared the heck out of me and you had to solve it. Can you share a couple of examples like that for us?
Um, the first thing that I would say, we initially went, we walked out on faith. So now we have a business plan. Now we have those goals. So we started without an actual business plan. Um, and we learned a lot of hard lessons wearing many hats. So some days we would be the cook, some days we would be the janitor, some days we would be the teacher, some days we're doing payroll. And so when you don't have the adequate amount of staffing, and keep in mind during this time, we opened up 3 months before COVID hit. And so when that happened, it was a lot of people who just didn't want to work. So it was, how can we keep our staff here who do want to work, you know? So it was some snags in between that time. Me and Precious do fairly well. We call ourselves like work husbands. We do fairly well with who works stronger in certain areas versus the other. So we complement each other. One mistake that I would say that I would avoid when opening up a child care is making sure that you have an accountant. Just don't walk in and not know how not to do payroll, how to take out payroll taxes, how your business is set up. Not having a good relationship with like your insurance agent or people that you really need to support. So when state comes in, they ask for those documents. They want to see your leasing agreement. They want to see your insurance. They want to see if you've paid your workers' compensation. They want to, all of those, your fire inspections, all of those things are have to be visible to them. So staying organized and creating really good systems, we had to learn for a long time, like, okay, we need a system in this area to make sure that, you know, I've seen a few child care centers who didn't do their fire inspections in enough time. If you don't have that, your business gets shut down, and then you have to wait until the fire department can come out and reapprove your space. So just knowing to stick with dates, meeting deadlines, things of that nature for us.
Well, there you go again, saying the same stuff that all business owners say. Girl, I swear you listen to a ton of these podcasts because the business owners that come on here are not unlike you at all. So many have said, I wish I would have sought out the professional or expert help that I needed right from the start. I thought to myself, I don't want to spend the money on that. And then you end up with one of those bang in your head moments because you would have went, gee whiz, I would have paid a couple $100 back then, and right now this in time and effort is costing me multiples more than the $100 I would have spent. So you're saying the same thing, and I hope that business owners that are listening are hearing the importance of finding experts, because they really do make your life so much easier with that right there. What's the biggest thing that has changed from day one? You guys have been in business for 6 years. January, I know you celebrated it. That
Yes.
had to have been one heck of a happy day. But what's
Yes.
changed from now, working your way through COVID, and now, if someone walked in your business on day one and then walked back in on year six, what difference would they see?
We have formed many partnerships in the community. We have Head Start and Early Head Start. We're partnered with like local preschool promise the organization. There's an organization for our teachers where they're able to go and shop for their classrooms every 3 months, $300 worth, I believe $200 worth of inventory that's free to them. Just forming those partnerships to help our child care center just flourish. And then also with the Head Start program, they help send our teachers back to school. They send us back to school. They do reimbursement, help with certifications. They come in, they provide coaching for our staff. They help us with maintaining step up the quality rules. Sometimes it's a little bit more detailed than what the state may want from us, but it just helps keep our program sharpened.
Well,
So,
I tell you what, I hear the importance of so many business owners, Carlisa, think my only important relationship once I get up and running is with me and my client. And you have just dispelled that rumor by talking about how all of these other relationships with other organizations or just simply in your community have kind of greased the path where something that could have been extremely difficult or time consuming, you've just talked about where it saved you time and potentially saved you money. I can't imagine. I hope that that is what our entrepreneurs hear out there right now is the client, the client business relationship is important, but there's so many peripheral relationships that out there that really make a business go as far
and
as that goes right there.
also being able to contact like other local childcare providers. I have quite a few childcare providers that I can pick up the phone and call on a day-to-day basis and say, hey, how have you handled this situation? Have you encountered this situation? And so it's funny because childcare providers can't talk to the average person and they can like understand where we're coming from or see anything. But when you talk to a provider, you're like, oh, these are my people. Like, you know where I'm coming from. You know how to help me get through these things. We can help each other with certain resources to help each other's programs just flourish, just communicating, things partnering on summer programs, things of that nature.
One of the topics that's come up, and I know Precious dropped off the call there, but you'll be able to speak to this one, and I would have loved to heard her thing. You're married to a business owner.
I am.
So now we are husband and wife business owners.
Yes.
Talk about the dance that has to be done to manage that not only in the business world, but the household personal world. What does that look like?
Yeah. I think the biggest thing with that is just open communication. What we've experienced, sometimes my business may not be doing the best, but his is flourishing. Sometimes my business may be doing really well, and then it may be on a downside due to the seasons that we are in. I think the biggest thing with us is keeping balance because since we're small business owners, sometimes we can take work home with us. So knowing when to, and I'm a Capricorn, so sometimes I'm an overachiever, working on that this year, but knowing when to cut off the work life and say, hey, we're home now. That's one of the biggest focuses that I believe that anybody who are entrepreneurs should try to form some sort of maintaining in the home life to make sure, because it can be stressful on both ends. What if both of our businesses are doing well, right now? Thank God the Most High, He keeps us through those situations. So we haven't had that, but nonetheless, just open communication, being understanding when one another are going through something, supporting each other. Sometimes his business has needed to be there for my business in the past, and my business has needed to be there for his business. So just supporting one another.
I'm going to make a montage one of these days of these podcasts where I ask that question, and it's going to sound like you all read off the exact same script, because that is the one thing that people say. Number one, knowing when to shut off work and turn on a home life. Number two, communication. Communication was the very first thing you said.
Yeah.
That leads me to believe that that is probably one of the most key things in yours. And you've mentioned on several occasions that you have a strong faith. You and I share the same faith. So I know the backdrop of having that faith and how important it is, and knowing at the end of the night when you lay your head on the pillow that you're talking to your creator, and he's giving you reassurance, and he's giving you
Sure.
love, and he's strengthening your faith. So I
That's
understand
excellent.
exactly where it goes. So we're going to wind this up a little bit, but a friend of mine named Ryan Hawk has just an ultra successful podcast where he interviews business leaders. And I love a question that he stole from one of his episodes, and I hear him use it all the time, and I love it. If I gave you and Precious a bottle of champagne today and said, 1 year from today, us three are going to get together 1 year from today, and we're going to pop the cork on that bottle of champagne, what are we going to be celebrating?
1 year from today, we will be celebrating the groundbreaking of, give us 2 years, the groundbreaking of purchasing our own building, our own land, and opening up a second location where we add primary K through 3 grades along with our early childhood education.
Is that breaking
Celebration.
news? Did we just break news here?
I like to
Breaking
manifest.
news. Breaking news. Tiny Scholars is going to open up a sec. I love it when we
Give us
break
two
new
years.
news. Listen, we can keep that bottle of champagne on ice for 2 years. I'm
Okay.
down with that right there. I love when we have breaking news. We had Dalton Dodd, the owner of Sugar Valley Golf Club and Jasper Hills Golf Club, actually broke news on a recent podcast talking about his acquisition of a third golf course. So I love having breaking news on the Ohio Business Spotlight. All right, it
Thank
makes
you.
it more exciting. So you talked about a lot of other partner businesses that have helped you. One of the questions that I want to end this with right here, because all of these episodes that I've referred to in the past, most of them have come from people saying on our podcast, hey, Greg, you need to get this business on your podcast here.
Mhm.
And right now, we don't have any openings until the month of May, and I love that. But
Okay.
who are the businesses that Carlisa and Precious think that we need to have on this podcast? If you can give me three, that would be awesome, but I'll take
Okay.
anything you got.
Um, we recently just started with a new accountant, and I feel like he is wonderful.
Mm,
R.E. Duncan,
mm,
Miss Zandra with Pitter Patter,
mm.
and who else would I recommend? Mm, Rip and Run Carriers, my husband.
There you go. There you go. Well, listen, I'll ask you to send me those when I send you the link to the podcast.
Okay.
We're going to wind this up right here, and I cannot tell you how much I'm thankful that you
Hey
decided to
y'all, I'm
take
on the
time out of
interview.
your.
I'm sorry.
You're all right. That's
Can
not
you
the
hear
first
me?
time that's ever happened. I've had my dogs bark in my interview and everything. Uh, I'm so thankful that you peeled out time of your busy day to be on our podcast. I know that entrepreneurs are going to watch pieces of this and they're going to learn from something that you said. And I hope that everybody recognizes when you have a quality business like Tiny Scholars University in Dayton that provides the high level of service that they do and is growing,
Thank you.
that I want people to patronize your business. But I'm so thankful that you were on the podcast today. Thank you very much.
Thank you. I appreciate it.
We're going to wind this episode up here of the Ohio Business Spotlight. We're thankful for everybody that joined us. We're especially thankful for our guests, Carlisa and Precious. We will see you next Thursday on the podcast, and I hope everybody has a great weekend.
Thank you.